for a very special extended Fantasy Football Power Hour. That Fantasy Football Power Hour is presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. Open 7 days a week, including for game days on Thursday, Sunday, and Monday night, sometimes Saturday night when it comes to the NFL, as well as college football, college basketball, the NBA, the NHL, and so much more. So make sure you're making your way over to the Wildcat Sports Pub. We love being here with you inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour. It's week 13 of us giving you fantasy football advice for the 2021-2022 season. And we are very grateful that you're here with us. When I say we, I mean Mr. Mike Sofka, who's here with me on the lines, and myself, Dan Tortora, bringing you all of Week 13, and, of course, answering your questions as always. But we can't do that before we welcome in the man of the hour. Mr. Sofka, how are we doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you, Dan?
Doing very well, and a very happy belated Thanksgiving. I know I reached out to you on the holiday and just wanted to tell you once again, happy Thanksgiving. Missed being here with you as I was traveling back from Pennsylvania, but very happy to be here with you today, and I hope you had a great time with your family.
Yeah, it was wonderful, and at this time of year, you always think about what you're thankful for, and I'm thankful for you, Dan, and I'm thankful for the opportunities that we have together each week. I look forward to it.
Yeah, and I appreciate the fact that you have been very consistent. Of everybody that I've had the opportunity to share the airwaves with, you have been the most consistent, extremely reliable, and that to me does not go unnoticed, understated, or underappreciated by any stretch of the imagination. So thank you for being loyal to me. Thank you for being good to me, and thank you for being good to the people out there who look for the fantasy football advice every week.
Yeah, I'm ready. The only thing is we got a problem here in Florida right now. I don't know if you've been watching the Weather Channel or anything, but it's extremely cold. We're going to have a high of only 76 today. So, keep me in your prayers.
I definitely will do my best to keep you in my thoughts and prayers today as we try to bear whatever today's going to. I think it's 38 today. I think that's what we're looking at. That's our high. So 38 degrees for this morning, this afternoon, and this night. It'll be colder tonight here in central and upstate New York. So let's hop right into it, Mike. We are here in the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub. You're also here inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios as we get set to bring you our thoughts on this upcoming week of fantasy football. We have Dallas at New Orleans. This is a game that feels like a marquee game, feels like a huge game, but at the same time, we have to remind ourselves, again, there's no Drew Brees on the other side of this thing. While we have Dallas at New Orleans into this fantasy football matchup, this is a game that feels like a marquee game, Cowboys and the Saints.
Well, I think the Dallas Cowboys are looking for some coaches. If you and I aren't doing anything tomorrow night, maybe we, go on over to New Orleans and, put on a star hat for the Cowboys. A bunch of their coaches out with COVID. Amari Cooper still getting over that. Might not make the game. Doesn't look like CeeDee Lamb trying to get back here. So this is definitely an interesting game. I find it most interesting because of the quarterback situation. We all know Dak Prescott's going to lead Dallas. As long as he's injury-free, he's the man. He's number 8 on the rankings this week. But the guy I've been waiting for quite a while is Taysom Hill. Looks to be taking over the reign for the Saints. Looks like he's injury-free and back. He's more of a dual threat, and that's what's selling in the league right now. He's number 12 against the Dallas defense this week, so that's something to look for. And then, when you think of Dallas, you think of the running game, of course, you think Ezekiel Elliott. I got him at 17 on the ranking, and on the other side of the ball, you usually have Alvin Kamara, but, he's still struggling to come back. Mark Ingram, I got at 34. Alvin Kamara might be on a pitch count, depending on his practice situation the rest of the week and how he looks. If he continues to improve, his ranking will improve. But right now I've got him at number 39, thinking they might have him on some kind of pitch count. Looking at the wide receiver situation, CeeDee Lamb should be back. He's number 10 on the rankings. No Amari Cooper yet. I got Michael Gallup at 43, though. And then you look on the other side of the ball, and I don't know if I'm really comfortable with playing a Saints wide receiver. I mean, I got guys like in the 40s, like in the 50s, like Traquan Smith, Harris. Those guys. Looking at the tight end situation, same thing for New Orleans. I don't know who I'm playing there. I don't think I'm going to play anybody. I like Dalton Schultz, so number 8 on the ranking this week. looking at this game from afar with the coaching challenges, being on the road, Dallas is somehow favored by 4.5 points. 4 to hook's always been unlucky for me, so I'm going to come right out of the box with the upset. I'm going to take the Saint home.
Yeah, I mean, Mike going with the Saints at home in this matchup. And, the thing is, this Dallas Cowboys team, well, I shouldn't even say, and it's not even this year, it's all the time. They're an enigma. I mean, they're a team that they look really good at times. People get really excited. People think, oh my gosh, this team is going to do this, this, and this. And then they don't end up doing it. Dallas is notorious for all they have to do is win one of their last 3 games, and they can't do that. Something that the Syracuse Orange are dealing with too right now. So, I mean, this is a tough one for me because I want to say the Dallas Cowboys are going to come in and they got the firepower and they can do this, that, and the other. But the New Orleans Saints are no slouch, and they're playing a Cowboys team that is up and down and around the corner. I do think Dak Prescott's worth the play. I have him a little bit lower as a QB1, but I still have him on there. Ezekiel Elliott, worth the play as well. Tony Pollard, I like him as a flex. A CeeDee Lamb, obviously, is worth the play for you. And we know with Amari Cooper on the COVID list, just watch that. But CeeDee Lamb, worth the play of all of those receivers. And Dalton Schultz, I like him too as a low-end tight end 1. On the other side of it for New Orleans, Taysom Hill, if you can play 2 quarterbacks, then he's a good number 2 to play. But if you're going to rely on him to win you your fantasy week, I wouldn't. Traquan Smith has stepped up to become the number 1 receiver in New Orleans coming out of UCF. And I do want to take a moment of silence right now, speaking of UCF, for Otis Anderson Jr., who passed away at the hands of his father at the very young age of 23 years old. So I want to take a moment of silence right now to remember Otis Anderson. I can't believe I'm asking for this, but he passed away at 23. Rest in peace, young man. And may everybody involved find peace as well and be okay. To get back to it, for Traquan, I put him as a wide receiver 3. Nick Vannett, Juwan Johnson. Really, this comes down to which quarterback is comfortable with who. I like Juwan Johnson as a sneaky sleeper tight end for you this week, but he is a tight end too. Alvin Kamara right now was a limited participant. He's questionable from his MCL injury. If he's able to go, play him. If he's not, play Mark Ingram. And look at the fact that Mark Ingram would still be a good flex for you, and because he can give you that handcuff and that value. And if Alvin Kamara is coming back here and is going to be a game-time decision or close, then it's important to understand that he's not going to get everything, and Mark Ingram's going to be able to carry some of that load. So there's a lot of fantasy value on both sides. Mike going with the New Orleans Saints. I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys in this matchup, and I'm going to believe that Dallas can get this done. They're supposed to, and I'm going to believe that they can. I'm not going to be surprised at all if they lose, but Dallas can't afford to lose these games if they hope to make a positive splash here as they head toward the postseason. They cannot afford to falter right now, especially with Washington staying in the hunt. Tampa Bay and Atlanta, what do you got?
Yeah, you ever have one of those friends or people, or even me, Dan, there's times we don't speak for a week or so at a time, and then we talk to each other, and boom, we get right up where we left off. That's Tom Brady and Gronk. You and I are Tom Brady and Gronk. Who you want to be? You want to be Tom Brady or you want to be Gronk?
I guess I'll be Gronk. I guess so.
Okay. All right. You'll be Gronk. I'll be Tom Brady. I'll be the GOAT. And what I mean is, you look at the rankings here. It wasn't that long ago, Rob Gronkowski wasn't even in the league, and now he's number 3 on my tight end rankings. I'll get to that in a second. The reason why Tom Brady is such a good quarterback is he develops good relationships, good rapport, good practices with his receivers. Tom Brady, number 4 quarterback this week. On the other side of the ball, not so much. That's where Matt Ryan comes in. Number 22, I'm not playing that cat. He's falling apart. Does not look good at all. Looking over at the running back situation, Leonard Fournette. I mean, this guy had 4 touchdowns last week. This guy's a beast. He's number 5 on the ranking this week. And when I go to the other side of the ball, Cordell Patterson, they missed this cat. When he's not playing, they're not playing. So I think they're going to have to rely a heavy dose on Cordero Patterson to have a clue in this game, to even come close to a victory. Looking at the receivers, you got Chris Godwin and Mike Evans for Tampa, number 13, number 17 on the rankings, respectively. And then on the other side of the ball, I got to go like into the 40s to find 37 to find Russell Gage. So if Russell Gage is your leading receiver and Matt Ryan's your quarterback right now, you're not going to have a good time. Kyle Pitts, number 5 on the rankings here. That's the bright spot for the Falcons right now. And like I said before, Gronk, number 3 on the tight end list this week. So I'm looking for Tampa. They're favored big in this game by 11. I'm thinking it might be a little closer than that, but I'm definitely taking Tampa to win.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as well. I don't I don't know a lot of people that would turn around and say no, that Tampa's not going to get this game done. I mean, I'm not too worried about it. I know they lost to Washington, but listen, Washington is a sneaky team. Washington is never out of any game. Somehow, some way, Washington has remained very relevant, and I give them all the credit in the world for that because they're the ones that are out there kicking tail and doing it. To go back to this one, though, Tom Brady worth the play. Leonard Fournette, I like him as a running back, too. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, both worth the play. Rob Gronkowski back and ready to go. He's worth the play as well. Ronald Jones, a low flex. I'd have him as a running back 3 or 4 at this point. On the other side of it, the demise of Matt Ryan. He doesn't have Julio Jones. He doesn't have a lot of his weapons that he used to have. And things have just gone down in Atlanta, and it's sad to see it, but, we're seeing it in Pittsburgh with Ben Roethlisberger. Really strong quarterback, really great history, really not getting it done right now. Cordero Patterson, he's an enigma. I'm not a big fan of him in fantasy and relying on him. PPR-wise, he's got value, obviously, there as a flex. As far as running the ball and running it consistently, no. But as far as being a running back / wide receiver, there is value, especially in PPR for him. Russell Gage, he's somebody that I've looked to that I said could have been a sleeper this year. Now he's supposed to be the number 1 guy in Atlanta. I would say he's a flex still. Kyle Pitts, I still have him as a tight end 1, and that's where most of the value is, if not all of it at this point in Atlanta. I agree with Mike. So I'm going to go with the Bucs to win this game. I'm not too concerned about it. Arizona at Chicago, what do you got?
Yeah, they're trying to put the band back together in Arizona. They're trying to get everybody back and healthy. Always check the Friday practice report, whether you check it on Friday night or Saturday. If I give you a ranking, all that's contingent. Well, I'm doing this ahead of time. I got a crystal ball here. I'm doing the best I can. So always make sure you check. If your player participates in practice in full on Friday, he's going to play. If he's limited in practice, it's still a question, but is leaning toward going to play. And right now, I think Kyler Murray is looking like he's going to play. So I have him ranked number 7 on the quarterback ranking this week. The other side of the ball, I don't think Justin Fields is going to be back. And Andy Dalton, well, not so much. Number 28 on the ranking. Going over to the running back, James Conner. He's looked great filling in. And Chase Edmonds is going to be out a couple more weeks. And James Conner is still the man. He's number 8 on the rankings for us. And David Montgomery, he seems to be fully back. He's number 15 on the rankings. Going over to wide receiver, I got Christian Kirk at 30, and I'm thinking is going to be back as a full participant again, and he's number 32 on the rankings. And for Chicago, Darryl Mooney has really showed up. Last week he had a big play. It seems like every week he has a big play, and he's the guy. So they're definitely at that point in Chicago where they're crossing over to the younger generation, Justin Fields, Darnell Mooney. These guys are starting to take over. That's a good sign for the future of Chicago. May not be for right now, though. And then when you go over to the tight end spot, I got Cole Kmet. He's a young guy. He's number 20 on the rankings, and I don't know who I'm going to play for the Cardinals. Oh wait, they got that Zach Ertz guy. He's number 13 on the ranking. What a coup for them to finally get a tight end of some substance. He's just outside of tight end 1 this week at 13. I'm taking Arizona to win.
Yeah, Arizona, a very strong team, and like I said, to beat the drum from last year, I said this is a team to watch out for. You may not know it yet, you may not think it yet, but this is a team who's going to find relevancy in the NFL, and they're going to find relevancy in the postseason. They're a team that can sneak in. They're a team that's dangerous. I told you that. And now I'm looking at what that looks like for Arizona. Arizona is a very strong team in the NFC. The NFC is going to fight tooth and nail. It's going to be exciting. I mean, I think both sides, the NFC and the AFC, are. There's no clear-cut champion. I know people look to Tom Brady and the Bucs, and I can understand why. But this season is setting up to be a pretty incredible season when it comes down to who's going to even make the playoffs, let alone who's going to move forward. So I'm excited for the prospect of what we have going on here and to see exactly who can be in the playoffs once we get things started and then blow this thing wide open. Arizona's a team that I think has that caliber. I thought they had it, and last season they just missed out on it. And now they're 9-2 going into this matchup. If Kyler Murray is able to play, then obviously you put him out there. James Conner, definitely worth the play. He's not throwing down the field as much, so you need your running back. This guy costs you peanuts. It's ridiculous that they let him go. He filled in tremendously when Le'Veon Bell had that giant saga that ended with Le'Veon divorcing the Steelers, or the Steelers divorcing him, however you want to call it. But at the end of the day, James Conner was the guy they could lean on, and then they threw him in the trash. He signed a 1-year, $1 million deal for the Cardinals, a very really cheap way to get a number one running back who's been leading the nation. So James Conner worth the play. A.J. Green and Christian Kirk, look at guys like Rondale Moore and whatnot. If DeAndre Hopkins is unable to go, then Rondale Moore and Christian Kirk I look at as a flex. I put A.J. Green below that. Watch on the DeAndre Hopkins thing. I like Zach Ertz here. He's found relevancy with the Cardinals again. Still got some more life in him, so that's important. On the Chicago Bears side, a low-end one, high-end quarterback too, if he's able to go, is Justin Fields. David Montgomery is worth the play here. Khalil Herbert, some of you who picked him up, like myself, when David Montgomery was out, he hasn't done much in the return of Montgomery, so Montgomery is still worth the play. I got him as a running back too. Darnell Mooney out of Tulane, a team that I cover. Big for him to be stepping up here in the absence of Allen Robinson due to injury. So I like Mooney as a low-end 1, high-end 2. And Cole Kmet, not bad as a tight end 1. There's better out there, but he's still a tight end 1. So Matt asked if we're taking questions. We are, Matt. So go ahead and fire away when ready. And I'm going to take the Arizona Cardinals in this matchup, Mike. Next one up here, Chargers at Bengals. What do you got?
Yeah, I like Justin Herbert. He's been struggling, though, as of late. I mean, I don't know if it's a sophomore slump or what to call it here. And, as he goes, so goes the team. So they really need him to pick up the pace again. I think he can get right fantasy-wise against Cincinnati. Not sure he'll be able to pull out the dub on the road, though. Justin Herbert, number 6 on the rankings this week. Joe Burrow's been pretty steady, pretty consistent. He has some great receivers there. I'll get to that in a minute. He's number 14 on the ranking. And Joe Mixon, number 4 running back this week. And Austin Eckler, number 3 running back. So that's where the money is this week for this game. Looking at those wide receivers, Jamar Chase, the big play guy, the partner of Joe Burrow, back in college at LSU. This guy can fly. This guy can get it done. This guy's a number 1 receiver, legit, as a rookie out of the box. Number 9 on the rankings this week. Against a little further behind, number 24 on the rankings. And then, I look at the Chargers. I like Mike Williams. He's number 23 on the rankings. But week in, week out, the guy is Keenan Allen, number 4 on the wide receiver rankings this week. And going over to tight end, Jared Cook is a touchdown-dependent tight end. He's number 19. And C.J. Uzomah, number 25 for Cincinnati. I like Justin Herbert to try to get back to right, to try to get more fantasy points this week. I just don't think he's going to be able to pull out the W in Cincinnati. I'm taking the Bengals.
Yeah, Cincinnati is a strong team. They really are under Joe Burrow. They've done some really good things fantasy-wise, playing from behind. He was getting 50 points a game for me last season. This season, they're a better team, and obviously they've shown that, and I give them a lot of respect for what they've done. The Cincinnati Bengals under Marvin Lewis were a team that was kind of just there, but not really relevant. And now they're working to be different. I'm not on the Justin Herbert train that he's this fantastic, amazing, oh my God, going to do everything guy. He can throw that ball. He can whip it. That spiral looks awesome. Listen, I respect a young man for the way that he can throw that pigskin. And at the same time, do I lean on him in fantasy every week? No. And, in reality, do I think the Chargers are there yet? No. But, Justin Herbert, I got him as a lower end one this week. Austin Eckler is worth the play for you. Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, Jared Cook. I like them all in this matchup. On Cincinnati's side, it's Joe Don't Call Me Burrow. Love it here. Got to put him out there. This man in his second season is really showing what a leader he can be. Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, obviously coming from LSU, reuniting with Joe Burrow. We thought it would be good. It's been great. T. Higgins is a wide receiver 3 due to Jamar Chase getting as much love. And C.J. Uzomah, not a bad play. I got him as a tight end 2 in this matchup. Low end 1, low end 1, high end 2. I like both teams here. I think it's going to be a good game, but I'm going to agree with Mike and pick the Bengals, and more so, because I'm not full. Like I said, I don't fully believe in the Chargers right now, as far as, every single week them being a consistent threat. But at the same time, the Bengals are home, and so I feel better about the Bengals in this matchup. Matt said, awesome, this is a really tough one in my opinion, but if you had to choose 3 starters this week out of Cordero Patterson, Leonard Fournette, Alexander Mattison, and Elijah Mitchell, who would we choose? So 3 of those 4, Mike.
Yeah, well, I'm going to take Fournette, first calf out of the shoot. I'm going to take Madison. We're going to get to that in a minute. And then, Cordell Patterson, I think I'd have to lean with Cordero Patterson at that point.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree on that. Elijah Mitchell, I haven't been really sold on, so I would say Leonard Fournette. At the eye test, Matt, first and foremost, I think, like Mike said, Leonard Fournette, that's an easy one for me. Cordero Patterson, if it's PPR, it's even more helpful. And Alexander Mattison, I'll give a nod to that more than Elijah Mitchell. So I'll agree with Mike on that. So Matt, just so you know, and hopefully we got you here. If you got any more questions, send them our way. And anybody who has a question, feel free to send it to us as you always do. We appreciate it so very much. So send your questions over to us here on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, either one of those live feeds, or you can send it to the live audio feed on mixlr.com/wakeupcallt. So we would go with Cordero as well as Fournette and Alexander Mattison. So that's where we're telling you to go here. That going to Matt. If you have a question about your team specifically, make sure you send it in to us on any one of the channels I just gave you, and we'll be happy to help you in any way that we can. So, Mike, speaking of that, before we take our first step aside, why don't we jump into it, since we both mentioned Alexander Mattison when Matt asked us the question. Minnesota is at Detroit. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, Minnesota's, Dalvin Cook, he's the guy for that team, and he seems to be the every down guy. And not far behind him when he gets to play and gets on the field is Alexander Mattison. He's really a good athlete. He's a really good running back. I'm so sure that Dalvin Cook's going to sit out this week with the shoulder. I got Alexander Mattison rated as the number 2 running back this week. So you're definitely playing that guy. On the other side of the ball, you got Jamal Williams, probably all Jamal, because DeAndre Swift is dinged up as well. I got Jamal Williams at number 7. So it's tremendous value. These are daily fantasy guys that you want to play this week. Alexander Mattison, Jamal Williams, then build your roster around those guys. Those who've been, working with me on daily fantasy football, the strategies we like to use there. Those are 2 guys you have to have in your lineup, Alexander Mattison and Jamal Williams. Going over to quarterback, this is where there's a bit of a difference. Kirk Cousins, number 10. He's usually that bottom of the QB1s. He's definitely a mid-level, but he's got outstanding receivers, and they've been doing an excellent job for him. I got Kirk Cousins at number 10. On the other side of the ball, Jared Goff, not so much. You kind of see why he was jettisoned from the Rams. Stafford's having his own problems. We'll get to that in a minute. But Jared Goff, number 29 on the ranking this week. And then when I go over to wide receiver, this is where the biggest disparity is, because, they had Justin Jefferson blow in, and he's just taken over. He's number 3 3 on the wide receiver rankings. Adam Thielen, number 12. So, boom, tremendous 1-2 punch for you there as well. Those guys cost a little more money, though, in DFS. Those guys are all year long getting it done. Those are plug-and-play guys. On Detroit, I don't really have a receiver like that. I mean, who am I going to play? Amon, St. Brown, Brock, Raymond, these guys are ranked 40s and 50s. I'm nowhere near that. I'm staying away from that. And then on the tight end position here, Tyler Conklin slowly gets it done. He's not a premier tight end. There's still a learning curve there for him. He's number 15 on the rankings this week. And then for Detroit, TJ Hawkinson's going to be a big bright spot for them again. He's the guy. He's a red zone threat. He's the guy that can pick up the tough yards over the middle, and he can even stretch the field. He's number 6 on the tight end rankings this week. And I felt bad for Minnesota last week. They're a much better team than they showed. I think they're going to have a coaching change at the end of the season here. And the other side of the ball is not much better. They're 0-10, and I feel real bad for the Lions because I keep thinking they're going to win one of these games. They're right in there. They're fighting. They're hanging in there. They're the best 0-10-1 team I've ever seen. I'm taking Minnesota on the road.
I love that. They're the best 0-10-1 team I've ever seen. So Detroit is fighting for that number 1 pick. I said it, and I'll say it again and again and again. We'll see who won this thing. I said, arguably, you could look at both teams won, right? Matt Stafford goes to the Rams, so he wins, they win, and having him and having a prominent quarterback and making a push toward a Super Bowl. And then you can argue that the Lions won because they got like 100 draft picks out of this thing. And if it doesn't work out with Jared Goff, it's easy for them to just shift gears and say, okay, you know what? It didn't work with him. We got 100 different picks, plus our own picks. We're going to go and get a quarterback. Well, with the record that they have right now, they're not going to have any problem going and getting a quarterback because they're going to have an opportunity to get the first one out of the gate if all things stay the way that they are right now. And that's what I see happening. I mean, the Detroit Lions are an abysmal football team. They're awful. They make the Jaguars look like they're doing... I know the Jaguars are getting better. They are getting better. But this is a frustrating go for the Jags. However, the Lions make those cats in Jacksonville look like they got a little more roar in them, if you know what I'm saying. So, Minnesota's side of it, Kirk Cousins in this matchup, I got him as a low-end QB1, high-end 2 because he's playing the Lions. If Dalvin Cook does not play, obviously Alexander Mattison skyrockets there. Look for him. Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen, like Mike said, plug and play. Don't worry about that. Tyler Conklin, I like him in this one because he's playing up against the Detroit Lions, so he's a low-end tight end 1 for me. Jared Goff, I don't know what the hell's going on. And, former number 1 pick. Sometimes you swing and you hit. Sometimes you swing and you miss. So... Jamal Williams saw 20 touches in relief of DeAndre Swift. If DeAndre isn't able to go, then Jamal is somebody to look to in this one. I'm not high on Jamal Williams in fantasy history, but if he's going to be the number 1 guy and he's going to get at least 20 touches, that's somebody to look at. TJ Hawkinson is the brightest spot for Detroit. I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings. I feel like Minnesota will let this one be closer than it needs to be at one point, but ultimately... Minnesota's got to take care of business on this one. Let's be real. This is Detroit, and Detroit is somehow worse than they were under Matt Patricia. I don't know how they did it. So with that being said, we're going to take a step aside for a fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. When we spin back around, Mike and I will be bringing you the rest of our games here. Next one up, the Giants at the Dolphins. Every single Wednesday, you can expect the Fantasy Football Power Hour, bringing you fantasy football advice on every single team, every single game. Always happy to bring that to you. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for hanging out with us where sports meets that thing called life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. We'll be back around here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora right after this fast break.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. We're inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Cafe Kubal with locations all throughout central and upstate New York on 3501 James Street, as well as 208 North Townsend Street and 401 South Salina Street, where we'll be next Tuesday, December 7th, in a live show with my cousin Fran Tortora, who just signed on to be a Division I women's lacrosse player at one of the most prestigious schools in the nation for the Stony Brook Seawolves that are consistently ranked somewhere number 1, number 2 in the nation. She'll be joining that team after this very, very soon here after this coming season. So very proud of Miss Fran Tortora, my little sis, and so she'll be there with me this coming Tuesday. Come down and see us at 401 South Salina Street in Syracuse. They also have locations on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, and of course inside of Galisanos Children's Hospital in downtown Syracuse, and we thank them for all they do for our kids and all the miracles they make every day. And we want to also invite you to the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road in North Syracuse to Sweetheart Corners, to that Cafe Kubal, the first ever drive-through location. So, with that being said, Week 13 of Fantasy Football Advice, hanging out here with Mr. Mike Sofka, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub in the Fantasy Football Power Hour. Next game up, Giants-Dolphins. Mike, what do you got?
Yeah, the Giants at the Dolphins. There is a weather advisory for this game. It might drop as low as 75 degrees for this one. All right, I'm looking at the quarterback situation for the Giants, and Daniel Jones is dinged up. He's doubtful right now, and I don't think I'm starting Mike Glennon either. These guys are way at the bottom of the quarterback rankings this week, whereas Tua, on the other side of the ball, he's just outside QB1. He's number 13 on the rankings. Saquon Barkley trying to get fully back. Not really fully back, in my opinion, yet. Number 13 on the rankings. Myles Gaskin on the other side of the ball for the Dolphins. Number 19 on the rankings. Then I go over to wide receiver, and Jalen Waddle, I think, is the best wide receiver on the field. I like Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle. I don't think I'm going to put all my eggs in one basket, but he is number 14 on the rankings, and he's bound to get some big plays. And again, he has that connectivity with Tua from back in college, so you can't underestimate that. Some guys just hook up well together and just seem to make magic happen together, and Jalen Waddle and Tua are some of those guys. I don't know if I could really start a giant receiver. I mean, I got a bunch of them in the 40s. I got Sterling Shepard at 39, Kadarius Toney at 41. I don't know if I can really start any of those guys. And I feel bad for Kadarius Toney, former Florida Gator, like Percy Harvin, and his career is already starting to mimic Percy Harvin. They're trying to get him the ball in space, but he can't stay on the field. He keeps getting injured, and that's a problem. Your best ability in the NFL is availability, and he has a problem staying on the field. Tight end, number 7 on the ranking. Number 7 on the ranking, and on the other side of the ball, Evan Ingram's really fallen off. I can't start anybody for the Giants here. Giants are going into Miami. I think they're going to go home with an L. I'm taking the Dolphins.
Yeah, the Giants are just, I mean, they're a mess. And, I think, I said it before and I'll say it again. Saquon Barkley is not for long there. Yeah, he's just not. After a rookie contract, you look around you and say, has this team gotten better? Maybe. Maybe not. They're okay. This offensive line's not great. Our quarterback's not great. Our receivers aren't great. Our defense isn't great. The coaching staff, we're doing okay. So I just don't think Saquon Barkley is going to be there after his rookie contract. That's just my belief. So, and to get back to the Vikings-Lions game, if I didn't make it clear, I'm going with the Vikings. But to flip over into the Giants and Dolphins, Saquon is good to go in this one. He's been underwhelming. He's a running back, too. It's hard to keep him off your list, but I don't see him as an RB1 right now. Kenny Galladay, I want to say, is a wide receiver 1 because he was in Detroit, but he's with the Giants. So Evan Ingram, same thing. I mean, really the value's in Saquon Barkley. There's some value in Evan Ingram. But, with Tua playing up against the Giants, if you have a team on bye, if your quarterback's on bye, this would be the week to play Tua, in my opinion. I got him as a low-end 1, high-end 2, but he's got a favorable matchup right now. Myles Gaskin is worth the play here as a running back 3. I would have him. And Phillip Lindsay, we're looking at his role could increase. That's why I put Gaskin down a little bit. I don't think you should take Gaskin off, but Phillip Lindsay could be a sneaky flex for you. And then Jalen Waddle, definitely worth the play. Man, that guy's been consistent this year as a rookie. And Mike Gesicki, worth the play as well. I'm going with the Dolphins. I'm not too worried about it for Miami. And Philadelphia at the Jets, Mike. What do you have for this one? We got both teams from New York, New Jersey, playing up against these teams that are kind of all over the place. Sometimes Miami is good, sometimes they're not. Philadelphia, sometimes they feel like a nut, sometimes they don't. So what do you have for Philadelphia at the Jets?
Battle of the injured quarterbacks. Not sure either one of these guys are going to make the game. Again, check the practice situation on Friday. Jalen Hurts, number 5, as long as he's playing this week. On the other side of the ball, not so much with Zach Wilson struggling to come back here. Looking at the running back situation, this is where things get separated a little bit. The Jets have more of a committee type approach, and I'm not real excited about any one of those guys, except I'm going to go with the veteran, the KG veteran out of a bunch, and Tevin Coleman. I'm going to rank him number 27 this week. Now, Miles Sanders should be the star there. He followed Saquon Barkley, who we just talked about from Penn State, was a year behind him and seemed to be the every down guy, seemed to be on the field jumping over people, hurdling people, running super fast, catching PPR guy. And they both have this injury problem. So that's what happens with running backs in the NFL. Miles Sanders, believe it or not, I got him ranked below Boston Scott. Imagine that. Boston Scott, number 28 on the rankings. Miles Sanders, number 32. And then going over to wide receiver, again, another big separation here. I don't see a lot of value from either team with anybody. I mean, Devonta Smith and Jalen Reagor's been a tremendous disappointment this year. Devonta Smith, number 31 on the rankings. Elijah Moore, things are looking up for the New York Jets. Elijah Moore, this rookie looks great. Number 33 on the rankings, but I don't think I can start a Jamison Crowder anymore. He's in the 40s, and I don't feel good about any of the other receivers in that situation right now. I do feel good about Dallas Goedert. He's usually pretty consistent. Now that they got rid of Ertz, he's definitely the only guy. He's number 9 on the rankings. I I can't really start a tight end from the Jets. I don't care what their name is. So I'm going to go with the Eagles on the road.
I mean, again, when it comes to the Jets and the Giants, it's easy to pick whoever's playing against them for the most part, unless it's the Lions. So with the Eagles in this matchup, and like you said, the battle of the injured quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts, if he's unable to go, Gardner Minshew will get out there in a different shade of green. Instead of teal, it will be forest. And we get to see the Minshew mania happen once again. Could this be a cool sign for the future for Gardner? Maybe. I know when he gets his opportunities, he doesn't waste them. So, if he is able to go, take a look at that. But I don't like Philly's quarterback situation because of that. Boston Scott with injuries happening to Jordan Howard and Miles Sanders. Boston Scott goes up a little bit here. Kenneth Gainwell as a running back 4 gets some love. Boston Scott moves up here as a sneaky play for you. Devontae Smith has been good, and Dallas Goedert as well. Value to me in Philadelphia. As far as the Jets go, Zach Wilson supposed to be back, supposed to be doing his thing. He's questionable with his knee injury. Could see Joe Flacco again. Tevin Coleman, Ty Johnson, Michael Carter is out. He's on injured reserve. Won't be back until week 15. So Tevin Coleman gets the nod. I'm not a fan of that. I mean, I know they're playing Philadelphia, so I think he's a flex running back. I got him as a running back 3. I'm not a fan of putting him out there as a main dominant guy for you, but I do think he could have a good day because Philly's defense has been known to be Swiss cheese. So Elijah Moore gets some more value, too, with a bunch of guys injured there. He's a flex wide receiver, in my opinion. So I do see some value here with the Jets. I do think that Tevin Coleman's going to have a good game. They are at home. Philadelphia's all over the place, but listen, if it's going to be Minshew Mania, I'm going to lean on them. I'm picking Philadelphia to beat the Jets, although I do think the Jets are going to give you some fantasy value, so don't overlook that this week. Indianapolis at Houston, what do you got?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game, I think, because, well, you got the top running back in the game. I'll get to that in just a second here, but starting off at quarterback, this is a rough one. This is a rough one because, well, I don't know if I can really count on a quarterback in this game. You would think I could count on, Carson Wentz from the Colts. He's number 17 on the ranking, so I'm not super excited about that. And then you look on the other side of the ball, Tyrod Taylor, number 20. So it's kind of, whatever. It was okay. It's kind of like when you're all excited to go see a movie and you get to the movie and you watch it and you're done and you're like, wow, that was just okay. Jonathan Taylor, number 1 running back on the ranking this week. And Rex Burkhead looks like the one to have from Houston. Number 29 on the rankings this week is Rex Burkhead. Bye-bye David Johnson. That was a great trade. Looking at the wide receivers, though, I'm looking at names like a Michael Pittman, number 15 on the rankings. Brandon Cooks, number 19 on the rankings. Then there's a tremendous drop-off after that, so I'm not playing any of those guys. And you know what? I'm not sure I'm playing a tight end from this game either. Jack Doyle turned it on the last couple games here. Maybe a Brevin Jordan looks like he's ready for a breakout. But again, I can't rely on those guys. Those guys are in the mid to high 20s on the rankings. I'm going to go with Indianapolis, the better offense line, the better running back. The number 1 running back this week is, again, Jonathan Taylor. So I'm going to go with the best running back. I'm taking the Colts.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas, home improvement. Well, if anybody needs some home improvement, it's Houston. So Bill O'Brien left his mark. Boy, did he. And they can't blame Bill O'Brien anymore because they're still making terrible decisions without him. So the Colts, Jonathan Taylor, and Michael Pittman, yes on yes. Outside of that, maybe Nyheim Hines is a flex guy for you. Houston, David Johnson, we knew, Mike. We knew. I said there are very few things in this world that are foolproof. There are very few things in this world that you know the outcome before it even happens. And one of those things was the trade straight up DeAndre Hopkins for David Johnson, trading arguably the number 1 wide receiver in the country for a running back who got ousted multiple times by his backups after he was supposed to be a top 4 running back in the nation. You trade a guy who's trending down with a guy who's trending up in 2 different positions. It makes no sense, which is why the Texans did it, because they like to make decisions that make no sense. And Texans, I don't want you to necessarily stop making decisions that make no sense because you're helping the Jaguars look just a little bit better. So I appreciate that. With that being said, Houston's a mess. You know, we could easily say Houston, we have a problem. They have a lot of problems. They have so many problems. It's like if a meteor hit a NASA space shuttle while the space shuttle was breaking apart, while there was an alien jumping out of it. Brandon Cooks, he's got some value to you. He does. Little bit. As a 2 or a 3. I do like Brandon Cooks in that sense. But outside of that, it's Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman. I expect the Colts to run all over this team. Jonathan Taylor had a fantastic week recently. I expect him to have another one. I know sometimes teams, for whatever reason, struggle with the Texans when they're not supposed to. But I'm going to pick the Colts to win this game. I'm going to pick the Colts in fantasy. And I would imagine that if your team is comprised mostly of Texans, you're probably not anywhere prominent right now in the current world of fantasy football. Just a guess. Just make a little crystal ball here. But it's what I'm thinking. Next game up, Mike, Washington at the Raiders. What do you have?
Hey, it could be worse. You could have players from Detroit. Washington at the Raiders. I like Taylor Heineke. This guy is something else. This guy comes out of nowhere. Wasn't even in football, not long ago, and he was really in the back of his mind. He was thinking, "Hey, this might be over for me." But this guy seems to get it done. I like him a lot. I like what he's got. He's got that it factor, that wow thing. I'm not saying he's a superstar, but he's a competent quarterback. He's middle of the road this week at Vegas. Taylor Heineke, number 15 on the ranking. Derek Carr, a few bumps ahead. At the bottom of QB1 status here. He's QB 11 this week. Looking at the running back situation, Josh Jacobs, I think he's fully back from injury. He's number 10 on the ranking this week. And Antonio Gibson is still playing with that fracture in his shin, number 6 on the rankings. Every time I want to count this guy out, I start investing heavily in Jarrett Patterson, and I start coming up with all these other ideas, and then J.D. McKissick all of a sudden scores touchdowns. So you really can't tell what's going on there, but J.D. McKissick might be another sneaky play as long as he's able to make the field. He was carted off in the last game, so make sure he comes out. Again, Friday's practice is key for everybody. Looking at the wide receivers, Hunter Renfrow has really made the most of the Henry Ruggs opportunity. Hunter Renfrow, number 6 on the wide receiver rankings value there. Number 11 on the rankings is Terry McLaurin for the the Washington football team. Terry McLaurin seems to get it done every week. He seems to always pull it out and get you some fantasy points. I like the overall consistency there. Number 11 on the wide receiver rankings this week again. Logan Thomas coming back from injury. Number 17 on the rankings. And talk about injury, Darren Waller's dinged up, going to be out. Foster Moreau is taking over for him. And last time Foster Moreau started for Darren Waller, he put up 18 fantasy points, and some of those points were a touchdown. So very competent guy. Number 10 on the tight end rankings this week. I got to go with Las Vegas at home.
Yeah, man, this football team, I have one question. Joe Theismann will reprise his time on Wake Up Call tomorrow morning. What do I refer to him as? The Washington football team quarterback champion or the Washington Redskins quarterback champion? Mike, what do you think?
Well, I think you go with the nomenclature that was around when he played, and that was Redskins. I mean, you can't. It's almost like an insult to those guys to call those guys the Washington football team for what they were able to accomplish. I mean, the Redskins have passed the hog mollies up front. Just everything about the Redskins back in those days screamed that these guys were solid players. So yeah, you gotta go by Redskins.
Yeah, it's crazy. That football team back then, it's almost like you forgot the name of the team. So Taylor Heineke, not a bad bet here. He's not a bad quarterback. He really isn't. He's done some good things, and he continues to push. I mean, they've beaten the Bucs this season as well. They've done a lot of good things in this little winning streak that they've had. So I like Antonio Gibson. Taylor Heineke playing up against the Raiders. I would say he's like a mid-range, mid-level quarterback right now this week as far as fantasy goes. I like Antonio Gibson. I like Terry McLaurin. Logan Thomas pulling it down late. I like him in this matchup as well. On the other side of it, Josh Jacobs is not a bad play. He is a running back 2 for you. Hunter Renfrow, good possession receiver, especially in PPR. And Foster Moreau, I'd look to him as well. Mike's going Raiders. I'm going Washington. Washington's just a dangerous, what's that Bruno Mars song? I'm a dangerous man with some money in my pocket. So, It's kind of how I feel about Washington right now. They some dangerous men with some money in their pocket. They're playing with house money. They got nothing to lose right now. So that's a dangerous man. Speaking of dangerous men, one of the guys that really made the locker room not great for Jacksonville, the Jaguars will travel to face off against the guy that they got 2 number 1 picks for, or first round picks, I should say, and that is Jalen Ramsey. The Rams will host the Jaguars this weekend. What do you got, Mike?
Yeah, it's an interesting game. I like to see Jalen Ramsey try to get something done against his former team here, just to see the show, the pageantry of it all. How's he going to react? How is he, what's the pregame and what's the postgame interaction going to be like and all that stuff. But, I'll tell you, the guy I'm most excited about in this game, I'm not excited about him in this particular game, but in the future, and that's Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback of the Jaguars, still on that learning curve as a rookie, still not a lot of the great pieces he needs around him. Number 25 on the ranking this week. And on the other side of the ball, Matt Stafford, I begrudgingly ranked him at number 9 this week because he was going up against the Jaguars. But recently, he's been channeling his inner Jameis Winston and been putting up pick sixes in every game. You can't put up pick sixes and expect to win many games. Hopefully, he shakes that off for his sake and for fantasy owners. Number 9 quarterback this week. Looking at the running back situation, Darrell Henderson should be fully back here. He's number 14 on the ranking. James Robinson, number 16 on the running back ranking this week. Cooper Kupp having a Pro Bowl, all-pro type kind of year. This guy is amazing. Number 1 wide receiver across the board. Everywhere I look, he's number 1. Number 1 wide receiver, Cooper Kupp. Looking on the other side of the ball, I don't know if I really have that guy I can really count on. The most dependable receiver Jacksonville has, I think, is Marvin Jones, and I'm not overly excited about him. They're trying to make Laviska Shenault that Swiss Army knife guy. That's not taking a hold. Those guys are ranked 35 and 36. Shenault 35, Jones 36 on the rankings this week. Going over to tight end, I really don't have one to speak of. The Jags brought in Dan Arnold, and now he's on IR, so and looking at the Rams situation, the Rams have somebody that can play. They're just outside of tight end 1. Number 14 this week, Tyler Higbee. And the game's in LA. It's against the Jags, and it's the Rams. And Matt Stafford's been playing horrible. It doesn't matter. I'm still taking the Rams.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Jacksonville, all I ask is that we show improve, and they've shown improve. I don't expect them to win this game. I'm picking the Rams for this one, but just show improve. James Robinson's worth the play. Marvin Jones and Laviska Shenault are good possession guys to help you out a little bit there. They're not bad. I mean, in PPR, they got some value there as flex guys, as wide receivers. When I say flex, I'm saying wide receiver 3 or 4, not your 1s or your 2s. So I like Marvin Jones, Laviska Shenault in that respect. They brought back Jadon Mickens. He was with the Jaguars for a little bit, did an awesome time. Him and I did some interviews, had some fun. He went and won himself a Super Bowl with them Bucks playing special teams, and now he's back with the Jaguars. Welcome home, my good sir. Happy to have you back in the northern part of Florida, the Sunshine State, and second home, a wake-up call. So look out for Jadon, too, in that receiving game, in that returning game. But Marvin Jones, Laviska Shenault help you with PPR a little bit. James Robinson definitely helps you with what he's doing. Matt Stafford in this game, I like him in this matchup as a low-end quarterback 1. If Darrell Henderson's able to go, he's the one that's worth the play. Cooper Kupp worth the play, as well as Van Jefferson. Odell Beckham Jr., daddy not sold on this man, and I'm not going to be, probably, maybe ever. Tyler Higbee's got some value in this as well. There's more value on the side of the Rams. The most value is with Cooper Kupp, and so I'm picking the Rams to win this game. Baltimore at Pitt. This game used to mean something. It's not that Pitt's out of the, realm of possibility right now, but dang it, they don't look good, and Baltimore looks more dangerous than Kansas City. So what are your thoughts?
Well, first thought is Roethlisberger. He's having a horrible year this year. Lamar Jackson seems to somehow always get it done. So we're at opposite ends of the spectrum. So I got a thought on the whole Roethlisberger situation here. Roethlisberger stinks. Right now, he's just not getting it done, okay? It's affecting everybody on the team, everybody's fantasy positions here. One of his backups, Josh Dobbs, studied aerospace engineering at Tennessee. Not a lot of people know that. Aerospace engineering at Tennessee. So if I'm Mike Tomlin, I'm putting Dobbs in since Big Ben is having trouble finding a receiver in open space. Thank you. Be here all week. All right, Lamar Jackson, number 1 quarterback this week. Ben Roethlisberger, again, having a tough time with it this year. Number 21 on the rankings. Going over to the running back situation, Najee Harris, I can't say enough about this rookie. He seems to get it done. He can be an every down back. He's number 9 on the rankings. And the Ravens, well, their best running back is Lamar Jackson. They seem to always get it done. Devonta Freeman's number 23 on the rankings, though, and we're hoping to see Latavius Murray as well. Looking at the wide receiver situation here, wide receivers for the Ravens are Marquise Brown. Again, he reminds me a lot of Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry, and Hollywood Marquise Brown. These guys come out of nowhere. They're quiet all game, and all of a sudden they bust a big one, and all of a sudden they break for a touchdown. He's number 8 on the rankings this week, and going down a little further on the rankings, I have to go way down to find some Pittsburgh guys, well, except for Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson's number 5 on the wide receiver ranking, but Chase Claypool's all but fallen off. And Chase Claypool, number 25 on the rankings, he had some feedback for how his team could improve by playing music at their practices, because that's what happens in pregame. And Mike Tomlin took exception to that and said, basically, I'm paraphrasing here, that he needs to stick with playing wide receiver, and I'll stick with coaching, and divisional labor is appropriate that way. Looking at the tight end situation, I wish I could count on just one guy. Well, there is one guy, Mark Andrews, number 2 for the Ravens, but Pittsburgh's having trouble finding that guy. Pat Freiermuth seems to be that guy. He just needs to pick up the pace. But for the rookies, doing an outstanding job. I know Jacksonville's second-guessing that whole situation there. Pat Freiermuth, number 16 on the rankings. This game's always close. These fans hate each other. These teams hate each other. This is a great rivalry game. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to take the Ravens on the road.
Yeah, I mean, the Ravens got to a point where they started winning games like this, and people started saying, wow, this team's pretty good. They in the regular season beating the Patriots when they had Tom Brady and Bill Belichick together, and people were really starting to respect this team. Well, now this has changed. It went from, wow, they're doing some good things, to they're expected to do good things. The Baltimore Ravens are expected to take care of this game. This game should be 40-10. It really should be. I don't know if it will be, because I think they could play it closer, and the Steelers have been known to play in a lot of tight games this season. No matter what Ben's done, they've been playing to the end of games, and it's coming down to overtime or last play in regulation. But Baltimore should be able to handle this, like, let's say 40-13. Lamar Jackson, yes. Marquise Hollywood Brown, yes. As a wide receiver, too. Mark Andrews, yes. Devonta Freeman and Latavius Murray, they should be your running back 3s or 4s. They should not be your top guys, because the best running back on the team is Lamar Jackson, and the best passer on the team is Lamar Jackson. And don't get it twisted, I'm not calling him a running back. He's talented. I defended him from the giddy-up before he was even drafted, so I don't want to hear nobody say anything to me about nothing now that y'all got Lamar Jackson jerseys. On the other side of it, Najee Harris is worth the play. Deontay Johnson's worth the play. If Pat Freiermuth is able to go, he's worth the play. He's questionable with a concussion, so watch that. I picked him up in a bunch of leagues because for some odd reason, everybody had him just laying out there waiting for me in free agency. Wasn't even on the waiver wire. Was just sitting there. So I'd gladly take him. And in this game, though, I'm taking the Ravens to win the matchup. I'm not really concerned about it for Baltimore. I know it's divisional. I know it can be close. These teams know each other and they hate each other, but I'm going with Baltimore. San Francisco at Seattle. Mike, what do you got?
Yeah, I like this game, but I don't like the quarterback situation here. I feel bad. It's like watching the other day. I'm watching TV and a Wolfgang Puck. Do you know who that is? World-renowned chef, has his own restaurants, has one on Disney property. Wolfgang Puck, big chef.
Yep.
He's pimping ShipStation.com, how to mail packages from your home now. And I'm thinking, man, have the mighty fallen off. That's like Russell Wilson. This guy used to be able to cook. Now I don't even know if I want to have him on my fantasy roster anymore. They're a mess there, and I think all the goes back to Chris Carson and not having a steady run attack. Chris Carson's out, and so are they. Russell Wilson's struggling to come back. I think he pushed himself, and the team pushed himself to come back early from that pin in his finger. It took less than 5 weeks. They thought it would take up to 8 weeks, and this guy comes right. Obviously, it's still affecting him. Something's affecting him because everything is off, and it's not a simple explanation. But right now, I'm starting to question everything. Russell Wilson, number 16 on the quarterback rankings this week, and then Jimmy Garoppolo, number 19. So I'm not excited about the quarterback play in this game. I'm not excited about the running back play in this game either, especially from the Seahawks. The Seahawks, those guys, Alec Collins just ain't getting it done consistently. If you're looking for a gamble, if you're looking for a long shot, like in a daily league, DJ Dallas. I got DJ Dallas actually ranked ahead of Alex Collins this week, number 35 and 36 respectively. And on the other side of the ball, Elijah Mitchell is the guy that they're going to continue to rely on. I think he's going to be fully back from his injury. No Trey Sermon to worry about. And Jermichael Hasty's not around to worry about. Jeff Wilson hasn't been able to make a dent. They were trying to do a committee thing. Elijah Mitchell's the guy. It's obvious. He pops off the screen when you're watching him. Number 11 on the rankings this week for running backs. Then when you go over wide receiver, I got Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk is the number 21 ranked receiver this week, and Deebo Samuel's dinged up. I don't think he's going to make this one. Looking at the Seahawks on the other side, I think DK Metcalf had like 3 targets and one. DK Metcalf's not getting the looks. Tyler Lockett's not getting the consistent looks. I got Tyler Lockett at 20 and DK Metcalf at 16. That's the lowest I've had these guys in a while. I'm trusting they're going to find a way to break out of this slump here. George Kittle seems to be back to his George Kittle self, number 4 on the tight end ranking. And on the other side of the ball, I really can't, play anybody from Seattle. I had Gerald Everett, number 23 on my rankings. Looking at this game, I really wish this was a better game. I really wish both teams had their act together. The only team that seems to have their act halfway together is the 49ers. That's who I'm taking on the road.
Yeah, Elijah Mitchell coming off a game against the Vikings at home, 27 carries, 133 yards, and a touchdown, 4.9 yards a carry. Also caught 5 balls for 35 yards, so did some good things in fantasy for you. And we got asked that question earlier about if we would put him, and we left him as the odd man out with Leonard Fournette, Cordero Patterson, and Alexander Mattison a little bit ahead of him, but he does have some good numbers coming off his last game. For the 49ers in this matchup, Elijah Mitchell is worth the play. And Deebo Samuel, if he's able to go watch this, well, he's doubtful, so never mind on that. Brandon Ayuk, I would say, is a wide receiver 3 in this situation. George Kittle, worth the play as well in this matchup. So I'd put each of them out there. Elijah Mitchell's the one I feel the best about. On the other side, it's hard to keep Russell Wilson off. And they tried to come back against Washington with 17-15. Didn't get the 2-point conversion to Freddie Swain after he got the 32-yard touchdown to Freddie Swain. So, Russell Wilson, like you said, rushing back, was it the right decision? He's done some good things. He's not bad. He is a quarterback that I still put out there as a QB1, just a little bit lower. He's like above Ben Roethlisberger, but below Lamar Jackson. He's like way below Lamar Jackson, but he's above Big Ben. So that's how I look at it, and Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy's such a up and down player that it's hard to put anything on him. Alex Collins hasn't done much of anything. Chris Carson can never stay healthy, which is very unfortunate, and I hope that he can, and that changes for him. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett both have value on this team, but Russell Wilson's got to make sure he gets the ball out to him, and without a rushing attack, that's going to be very difficult to do. So I like Metcalf and Lockett. I like Metcalf a little bit more than Lockett. And Russell Wilson, like I said, you still kind of got to put him out there, but I would temper your expectations of him this week. Elijah Mitchell is the best bet of all the players I'm talking about besides a DK Metcalf, but Elijah Mitchell doesn't have to rely on somebody throwing to him. So with that being said, I'm going to pick the Niners on the road. The Seahawks are out of playoff contention. Believe it or not, folks, they're 3-8, and that's sad. That's really sad. That's sad for football because that's not typically what happens. Mike and I are going to try and cheer you up, though. We're going to have Sunday and Monday Night Football right after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. From inside the Cafe Kubal studios, you are watching and listening to the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub on 36 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. Open 7 days a week for you to dine in. And, of course, you have the opportunity for takeout and delivery by calling 315-487-2222. That's 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat Sports Pub. We'll be back where sports meets life right after this with Sunday and Monday Night Football and Week 13 fantasy football advice here inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios.
Cafe Kubal Mobile Cafe brings the cafe experience to you. We'll roll out to your neighborhood or office, ready to serve our locally crafted espresso bar to our loyal patrons. Inquire at cafekubal.com. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, located on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, is home to over 40 flavors with more than 200 flavors in their total wheelhouse. Sky's the limit for this sweet and savory Central New York company. Keep it local at your parties, fundraisers, wedding showers, baby showers, and more by calling 315-450-MA-PA. That's 315-450-6272 for popcorn bars with custom flavors and colors at your upcoming event. Make sure to visit them on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And for more information, go to maandpassnacks.com. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Here at Progressive Dental, we understand the importance of regular dental visits and preventive care. Cleanings and checkups are essential to good oral health. We have multiple locations in the southern tier, so come visit us in Binghamton, Enwell, Kirkwood, Montrose, and Norwich. For self-pay non-insured patients, we offer the Smile Plan, which covers all of your cleanings, x-rays, and exams for an affordable yearly price. Call 607-754-2273 or 607-754-CARE to make an appointment today. For more information, visit our website at progressivedentalny.com.
The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every single time. Make sure you make your way out to the Millhouse Market today, and make sure you download their app on the Google Play or Apple App Store so you'll have everything at your fingertips, from their homemade breads and desserts to quinoa bowls, rice bowls, as well as their salads, brick oven pizzas, and sandwiches named after the families that helped to settle today's Pulaski. Ingrained in our taste buds and ingrained in our community, the Millhouse Market is second to none when it comes to everything they provide for you, for their eclectic menu that has so many different and amazing dishes that are constantly changing and evolving. Every single weekend, their bistro menu changes in their restaurant. So when you come here this weekend to next weekend, you'll have a totally different menu with new things to try and new creations from owner Rebecca Elford and head chef. So make sure you make your way out to the Millhouse Market. Download their app so you have everything at your fingertips, the entire menu, and on the app itself, you will get directions from wherever you are to the Millhouse Market on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York. Worth the drive every single time. With that being stated, here on Wake Up Call with Dan and Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life, we are here inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour. Not one of, not a, but the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub, 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York, where you watch all the games and where you have all the fun all week long. With a fantastic menu, a full bar, of course, drink responsibly, a party room that you can reserve for yourself and whatever event you have going on, massive televisions, giant screens, of course, surround sound, and just being immersed in the beautiful elements of watching your favorite team play. Next to being at the game, this is your great experience. Leather couches, perfection. Mike Sofka, he would love this. He's in Central Florida right now. He's got the weather. We got the view. That's how I look at it right now. Got to get Mike up here to the Wildcat Sports Pub and got to get you over there this week and today. 3680 Milton Avenue, Camillus, New York, for takeout and delivery. Call 315-487-2222. That's 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat. With that being said, inside the Cafe Kubal studios, we got Sunday and Monday Night Football. Mr. Sofka, bring us in. Denver at Kansas City. What you got?
Yeah, I like the quarterback play on one side of the ball here, and that's, of course, Patrick Mahomes. But you would think not so much this year. They seem to be having a down year. They seem to not – they're 7-4. All right, they're doing what they do. They're going to make it back. I'm not saying they're definitely a Super Bowl team. They've been in the Super Bowl the past couple years, but this is a team you can usually count on. I say usually count on some fantasy points for. Hopefully Patrick Mahomes and company has got all this worked out, because up against Denver, I've got him ranked as the number 2 quarterback this week. On the other side of the ball, not so much. Teddy Bridgewater dinged up. Drew Lock had to come back in. Not sure if Bridgewater or Lock are going to make the game this week, but I'm leaning toward Bridgewater. I think that's what's going to end up happening. Again, watch the Friday practice. I've got Bridgewater. It's the number 18 quarterback this week. Going over to running back, this is where you're going to see a little bit of separation here. Clyde Edwards-Helaire should be working his way back up toward the top of the rankings. Right now, he's number 18. And, Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon are not too far behind him, actually, number 20 and 21, respectively. Wide receiver-wise, Tyreek Hill. He's definitely the guy. If Cooper Kupp wasn't having a just off-the-charts year, Tyreek Hill would be the number 1 wide receiver this week, and Tyreek Hill's number 2 wide receiver this week. On the other side of the ball, I'd like to count on Jerry Jeudy a little more. He's coming back from the injury still, number 26 on the rankings. And, a little further down, Cortland Sutton, they just re-upped him, gave him a monster contract, number 38 on the rankings. And then Tim Patrick a little ways behind him. You may be stretching for McCole Hardman or some other, play there. So I would just stay away. Over at tight end, I wouldn't stay away from Travis Kelce, though. He seems to be back. He and Mahomes seem to be back on track. And when those two guys flourish, that offense flourishes. So Travis Kelce, number 1 tight end this week. And on the other side of the ball, not far off, is Noah Fant. He's a tight end 1. He's a number 12 tight end this week. I got to go with the Chiefs at home.
Yeah, the Broncos, last year we talked about them when we were talking contenders, pretenders, and we thought they were pretenders. And there's times this year where I really look at them and say, they can do some good things. Here's the thing about that division that's just real to me. When I look at the AFC West right now, Denver has done some good things, and they have, fantasy value, there's fantasy value throughout the AFC West. But Denver's done some good things. The Raiders have done some good things. The Chargers have done some good things. The Chiefs have done some good things. This entire division may go all the way down to the wire. The Chiefs lead the division at 7-4. The Chargers, the Broncos, and the Raiders are all 6-5. Not a single one of these teams is out of it. That has not been the case. When Kansas City started winning with Pat Mahomes, this division was not that great. 4-win teams, 3-win teams. Now everybody has relevancy, at least right now. And that's something that you really have to look at, and you really have to wrap your head around and understand. Denver's not a bad team anymore. They're not a you-know-what show anymore. Neither are the Raiders and the Chargers. Like I said, I don't trust them, but the Chargers are still relevant. So it's just something for you to look at as we put this matchup on Sunday Night Football, and some people scratch their head and say, why the heck would they put this on Sunday night? Because this is a divisional matchup that's huge. Because if the Broncos were able to beat the Chiefs, then both teams would be 7-5. Just to throw that at you for a second and help you put that in your pipe and smoke it. So, with that being said, if Teddy Bridgewater's unable to go, then that changes things. I like Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon. I like Javonte above Melvin. They're both, though, running back 2s, and I would put Melvin on a little bit of the lower end. Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton are worth the play, and so is Noah Fant. But watch that Teddy Bridgewater situation because I trust him more than any other quarterback they've had in a long time in Denver. Kansas City, I like Pat Mahomes. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is back. I like him. I don't like him as much. I got him as a running back 2. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. I'm going to go with Kansas City at home, but Denver, I think they're going to put on a show. I think they're going to bring it this week. I really do. So I'm going to pick Kansas City, but I feel, actually, you know what? No. I got to stick with my gut. I got to stick with what I feel. I think Denver's going to put on the show, and I'm picking Denver. So, yes, Kansas City's at home. Yes, I know they're good. Yes, I know it's easy to pick the Chiefs and move forward. But I'm going to have to pick the Broncos. I think the Broncos are going to make life interesting. I think they're doing more this year than they did last year. I think the Teddy Bridgewater era is not as bad as some people might think. And like I said, all of the teams in the AFC West are relevant right now. I'm picking the Broncos. Final game, Mr. Sofka, of this week, 13, the Patriots at the Bills. Just to let everybody know, for this game, I will be on site, on location, in a community near you in Baldwinsville, as Al Romano and I do Off the Rails with Al, and I'm very, very ecstatic about that, and we'll be talking about that this week. So we're going to be there with the Bills Mafia, and that's going to be an awesome experience. Patriots at Bills, Mike, what do you got?
Yeah, this is a great game. Usually is, especially in the past several years, and everybody thinks the Patriots are waning here. They're really not. If you look at the Patriots, they started 2-4 this year. They run off 6 straight, and a lot of that's coaching by Belichick. I'll get to that in a second. If you look at the Bills, they have the opposite situation. They're winning and losing every other game the past 6 games. Next up, a loss. They won their last one. So this could be a tight game. The line is relatively close. It's 30 degrees at game time. Is going to be, so it's going to be great. I'd like to see some snow on the field. That would be some awesome stuff there. But looking at the quarterback situation, this is where I think the difference is. Of course, you're talking about Josh Allen for the Bills. Josh Allen, Pro Bowl, All-Pro type, having the year of his life, then all of a sudden things started to fall off for him as a team. They're having some running back issues and so forth, but he's number 3 on the rankings this week. And then Matt Jones is number 23, but that's not indicative of what it takes his team. He's not having the great fantasy numbers necessarily, and not set up to have great fantasy numbers in this game. But with the coaching of Belichick accenting on his positives and being able to control what he does with what he does well, this is how you grow a quarterback. This is how a quarterback matures. And Belichick is doing a masterful job with this guy. So looking at that, I don't think being number 23 on fantasy rankings is going to have an indication as to who wins this game. Going over to the running back situation, like I said, they're having a little bit of question marks for running back in Buffalo. One place they're not is with the Patriots. Damian Harris, number 24 on the rankings. Ramondre Stevenson, number 31. Buffalo's Devin Singletary checks in at number 26 on the rankings. And Matt Breida, number 33. Zach Moss was a healthy scratch last week. I look for that to continue here. It's a shame. Such high expectations for Zach Moss, and he's all but fallen off here. High expectations is what they have for Stephon Diggs week in, week out, and he seems to deliver week in, week out. Number 7 wide receiver on the rankings. And then I'm looking a little further down. Number 27 is Cole Beasley. Meanwhile, for New England, I got to go way down to number 34 for Jacoby Myers and 42 for Kendrick Bourne. By the way, Kendrick Bourne had an outstanding play last week, tiptoeing by the sidelines. When everybody all but gave up on the play, he trots in for the touchdown. For reasons such as that, those small details, and the way Belichick handles this quarterback in the rookie Mac Jones, I'm going to take the upset here. I'm going to take the Patriots over the Bills.
Mike's taking the Patriots over the Bills. I am taking I'll tell you in a minute. So, with the Patriots in this matchup, Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson are flex players for you. Damian Harris, a lower end. I have him as a running back 2, a lower end 1, low end 2, high end 3. Ramondre is a running back 4. Jacoby Myers, Nelson Aguilar. I don't trust any of their receivers, But if I had to pick anybody, Jacoby Myers has done all right here and there, just under 100 yards in their most recent win. So I got him as a wide receiver 3. I'd put him as not a 2 yet. Hunter Henry, I like him out there as your tight end. On the other side, I like Josh Allen. Zach Moss has more than fallen off. Devin Singletary has some relevancy, but he's a lower-end guy, a running back 3 in my opinion. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, that's where the money is. Dawson Knox, Emmanuel Sanders doing some good things. Gabriel Davis as well. Those are 2 flex guys, though, at wide receiver 4. Mind you, Stephon Diggs is 153 yards away from being a 1,000-yard receiver this season, just to let you know. And I am going with the red, white, and blue team, whose name is Buffalo. I'm going with the Buffalo Bills in this one. Buffalo's got to play the Patriots twice. Twice, folks. How in the heck did the Patriots sneak all the way to leading the AFC East? Well, I'll tell you, the Dolphins weren't going to stop them. And the Jets, well, they're asleep at the wheel right now. The Bills and the Patriots fighting for this division. And I said this is the year that I'm more excited about Buffalo than I've maybe ever been as an adult. Definitely. Because when I was a kid, Jim Kelly and Bruce Smith and all those get Thurman Thomas, it was a great time to be a Bills fan. Now I'm looking at the Buffalo Bills saying, wow, going into this year, I was really, really excited. And now the Patriots have snuck up. I said, hell hath no fury like a Belichick spurn, and Bill Belichick saw Tom Brady win a Super Bowl without him on a team that was irrelevant before Tom Brady got there, and then Bill Belichick went out and spent a ton of money. He's like a typical ex-wife or ex-husband, right? They go through the divorce, they get the money, and they spend it like crazy. They buy a bunch of nice stuff because they want you to know that they're buying that $1,000 dress. They're buying those pearl earrings, that giant necklace because they want you to miss them and know that they got your money. That's what Bill Belichick's doing right now. And now he's playing against the Bills, and he's doing it on the road. This is going to be a really tough 2-game series down the stretch here for the Bills and the Patriots. I'm picking the Bills in this one. Don't disappoint me, Buffalo, but I'm telling you right now, Bill Belichick has got his team leading the division. All it took was Tom Brady winning without him. And that man, he got angry, and now he's trying to get even. Hell hath no fury. Bill Belichick. Darth Vader, Imperial March. Mike and I did it years before you guys did. Give us our royalty money. Mike, as always, so I'm picking the Bills. As always, Mr. Mike Sofka, I appreciate you. I thank you. You can find Mike winning fantasy football on YouTube. You can also find him at HallOfFameFantasyFootball.com with paid and free experiences to make your team better. The paid experiences help you more, and Mike has been known to help you very well throughout the years. That's why he's here with me. And, of course, you could find him with me in our Winning Fantasy Football group on Facebook. As always, Mr. Sofka, and once again, to bring it all back around, I am thankful for you. I appreciate you. And I'm very excited about everything that's coming up here down the stretch. And I look forward to seeing you soon. And I cannot wait for Monday Night Football.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Dan. Look forward to speaking with you next time.
Talk to you soon. That coming from Mike Sofka here where sports meets that thing called life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Always appreciate having Mike on the broadcast and thank him so much. So once again, Mike is going with the Patriots. And I understand. I understand why Mike's picking the Patriots. I get it. I get why he's going Patriots. And I am going with them Bills. So I am going with Buffalo. And we'll see what all shakes out on Monday Night Football. I think the Sunday night game is better than people are going to give it credit for. I think that Baltimore Steelers game is going to be fun to watch if you're a Ravens fan. And I think this Monday Night Football game is going to be really exciting and intense. I think that's a good word to describe it, is intense. So with that being said, appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for joining the show. Big shout out to Dolphin Time every first and third Wednesday of each month, AD and DT with Bob Beretta. Every second and fourth Wednesday, the Dolphin Dive, where I get to dive into the story of a student athlete, coach, or staff member of Lemoyne College. We have Lemoyne Dolphins coverage better than anybody else, exclusive content. The spotlight is always on. Lemoyne has never been covered this way, never this much, and we are only barely scratching the surface. Excited to have the Lemoyne College Dolphins with us for plenty more coming up. And as we talked about earlier on in today's show, in hour number one, in video number one, Bob Beretta, and I would like to welcome you tonight, Wednesday, December 1st, at 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. to Ted Grant Court on Salt Springs Road, right off Erie Boulevard here in Syracuse, to come see the Lemoyne Dolphins doubleheader as they try to keep themselves undefeated at home and get above 500 in the Northeast 10 against Adelphi. The women, Mary Grimes and the team, take on Adelphi at 5 p.m. tonight, Wednesday, December 1st, and at 7 p.m., Nate Champion and the men's team at Lemoyne take on Adelphi as well. And smack dab in the middle of that, at 6:30 p.m., I will be at Avicoli's bringing you a very special broadcast with the Liverpool hockey team. John Henty and his players will be sitting in with me from Avicoli's on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York. So I got a jam-packed evening where I have Lemoyne, Avicoli's with Liverpool, and back to Lemoyne, and you, I would love to have at both. Can't wait to see you. Thank you, Bob, as always. Thank you, Mike Sofka, as always. If you need more fantasy football help, reply to the video on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt. These videos will also be added to the fantasy football archive on wakeupcalldt.com, so you can reply to them there. And, of course, you can send me messages on Facebook at wakeupcalldt, Twitter at calldt, and Instagram at wakeupcall_DT. So it is Wednesday. From now until your game time, make sure you ask us your questions. You have no excuses. We've given you the advice well before Thursday, Sunday, and Monday. So if you got questions, send them our way. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is live for you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, as well as on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and facebook.com/live-now-dt from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Monday through Friday. After it goes live, you can join us in the archive by going to Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Podbean, and more by searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Want to give a special thanks to all of our proud partners, Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, as well as Mod Pod's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, Progressive Dental, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Avicoli's, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Pizza Man, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, the Millhouse Market, Lemoyne Dolphins, PB&J's Lunchbox, Honda City of Liverpool, Mother's Cupboard, and Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. So make sure you find us at each of those, and make sure you get more information on each of those partners by going to wakeupcalldt.com and clicking on each of the logos you see on your screen right now. We thank you so much for all of your support. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, speaking of support, is the proud multimedia marketing partner and first ever in the history of Lemoyne College, as we are the proud multimedia marketing partner of the Lemoyne Dolphins Athletic Department and Lemoyne College as a whole. It's all fins up. Every single Wednesday is Dolphin time at 9 a.m. Eastern time. What that means for you is every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern time, you can expect the Lemoyne Dolphins to be front and center in the spotlight, unlike anywhere else, unlike any other time before now. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is putting Lemoyne in that spotlight as they deserve to be. No longer a diamond that nobody knows about, but one that we are polishing off and putting right in front of you, right there in the glass case for you to take. The Lemoyne College Dolphins, make sure you get this information Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, first and third Wednesday with AD and DT, second and fourth with Dolphin Dive, and Lemoyne coverage throughout the month in general. Find out more on the Lemoyne tab of wakeupcalldt.com and LemoyneDolphins.com. Composite schedules on both for all of the games. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is also a proud multimedia marketing partner of the Marywood University Pacers, the first ever multimedia marketing partner as well in Marywood University history and in Marywood Pacers athletic history. The Pacers are here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single Friday, and this Friday we will be featuring Jen Carlton and the women's basketball team. Pacer Pride is all the time for my alma mater of Marywood University. Find out more by going to the Marywood tab on wakeupcalldt.com as well as marywoodpacers.com. Composite schedules on both, and you can see all of our specials with the Marywood Pacers by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. With that being stated here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I bid you adieu, and I hope you have a fantastic day. God bless, no stress, do your best. Be well, be safe. We'll see you at Lemoyne. We'll see you at Avicoli's. Can't wait to support Liverpool hockey and Lemoyne men's and women's basketball. Have a fantastic day, folks. Be safe and be well. God bless you. I send you my love. To a wonderful November, we bid you adieu, and to a beautiful and even better December, we welcome you into our lives. God bless us all. God bless December. God bless each and every single person, and may anyone anywhere who needs any prayer have that prayer, and God, please look kindly on your children. I love you, Lord, with all that I am. May we have more than enough to deal with everything we have to deal with, and may we be healthy, safe, and happy all the days of our lives. May they be long and fun and go by slowly, and may we use your gifts to do well and to do your will and to be well. And please forgive us for all of our sins. Be with us, my Lord, and keep us safe and sound. And may our loved ones be with us that have passed away. Even in death, may you be with us, and may we be with them as well. In dying, you destroyed our death. Rising, you restored our life. I love you, God. I love you, G-Mama, Gammy, Pops, Mordu and Cinnamon, Shady, and all of my loved ones here on earth. Lily, Mom, Dad, everyone. I love you all. God bless you all.